Hi, I'm Nick Ball. Welcome to S-World and the TBS, which is Technology 2, Total Business Systems, Company Controller, OKR system. Mm, there's a lot of detail I could show you about where those names come from, but that's for another day. For now, I've got a task to do myself, and that is prepare my OKRs for the next year. And that is quite a task. And I was a little bit worried about it, but I've just gone in the right direction some. And as I've been wanting to start to make a set of recordings on this, I thought this would be a good place to start. Okay, now I'm going to switch here to what's called the daily planner. Okay, here we are. This is the daily planner. This is yesterday. Okay, so I better give you a bit of a tour, I suppose. Let's have a look at the last week coming up to Christmas and let's see what was going on. Over here, these are priority tasks. And what these targets means, I'm allowed 8 targets. Target is 30 points. That means if I work on one of these tasks, I can give myself the reward for working on that particular task. And that has been put in place to make sure I work on tasks that maximize key results, that maximize objectives. We're talking about OKRs, objectives and key results. You plan your objectives, and that's probably better seen here. These are the objectives, I suppose, the projects on the left. SWeb v6 2024, and that's all files in 20.16. And we can get to see that in 2 ways. Here is the spreadsheet called the Research Index. Along the left, we can go to 2016, and we have a list of the files made in order. And what this does is it becomes the project, and no longer are only files for SWeb in here, because SWeb is actually the Higgs boson like gel framework that a lot of other technologies sit within, and so it's okay to mix them up within these master categories. The master category is SWeb v6, but we can see here we're going into all sorts of complex modern software development, and we can start to see here started using icons at this point, sorry, emojis. Okay, and we can start to see here where this project, SWeb 6VC, really started to focus on these OKRs. You can see here and here, OKRs 4.6 DevOps, which is really where it started. It went a totally different direction and came all the way back again. And at this point, and we're talking, this was written on the 20th of December, a little bit more on that up until the 22nd of December. And let's just go back here and have a look for the 22nd of December. And let's have a look at that day, for example. Okay. Okay, so here the swapping menus function was discussed. This was a priority. It wasn't planned out that I would do it on this day, but it was a priority per the priorities here, and it was a high priority. And because I got on with it here, here, and here, even though I didn't do fantastically well until the fourth session on it here, where we got the on fire. Okay, and that was the day before the weekend, and that was Christmas. And now we're back to just after Christmas and just before New Year. And I thought I'd spend these 1, 2, 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, working on the Q Planner and the OKRs in general. Now, I have on my OneDrive created these different documents that I'm going to be using for, I basically was just working in standard updating. We'd got to a version 4.4.4. But at this point, I decided, well, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different use cases, and I'm now going to separate into these different use cases. So the founder will now be 4.4. Actually, it's 4.4.4, and any update up until 4.5. So I go 4.4.4.1, 4.4.4.2, and so on and so on and so on, with specific jumps if something very specific happens that has been noted. So it would jump. So it would go 4.4.4.1 and then 4.4.4.2, and then it would go 4.4.5 and then 4.4.5.1 and 4.4.5.2 and then 4.4.6. If you see, it's always under that 4.4. That's how it'll progress. But now, when it comes to any advances in the systems development and design that are to do with the team, now this is sales, and well, it's not necessary sales, it can also be the staff at the tax HMRC in the UK. It's an environment of people working together, and the Hawthorne effect is that everybody can see what you're doing, and because everybody can see what you're doing, you work harder. The behavioral economics suggests that that is a higher motivator than actual money, but I like to hedge on both being a good motivator, so there's financial incentives as well. But in general, any sort of team is now going to be OKRs team 4.5, and then I'll go 4.5.1, and so on and so on and so on. When it comes to DevOps and all programming and software design, be it little or small, it's going to now come under OKRs DevOps. And I'm reading a series of books at the moment that are really teaching me an awful lot, and that'll be specced out over these versions 4.6.1 and so on and so on and so on. But really, I'm doing that to pass over to the team who have written the books that I'm reading. Okay, then there's the OKR C-suite. That'll be for me to communicate, the founder, OKRs 4.4, to communicate with the other main partners at this time. And then later there'll be OKRs, the board, where there'll be a board. And the OKR system is now you have founder, C-suite, board, team, and to get it all together, making the system itself is DevOps. Okay, so these are documents that I haven't even started, apart from the 4.4.4. Here we can see I've used these cyclone emojis as part of the branding, essentially. If we tap top right up here, this is how the logo's coming along. TBS-CC OKRs with the 2 cyclones. Kind of cool. Okay, so let's go back to the spreadsheet. This spreadsheet is due to be created as software, essentially. Instead of having all this stuff up the top, we would just have it clean and simple as possible. The general idea is, this has been going on for a long time, is because everything is ordered by catalog number, and one can just pick out the name within any. It's actually weirdly enough, for one reason or another, my OneDrive will find the name, but it won't find the catalog number. That's you see, it's immediately found that result. Now let's just try finding the actual catalog number. Okay, it does work once I've clicked the search. I think that's actually good to know. I think I've only ever put it in the top here and not seen it here. But actually clicking on that. Okay, well there you go. There's plenty of ways. There's plenty of ways from what I've written here to find out what the document is. So I just try and be as descriptive as I can. Sometimes these numbers are cut. Below, there used to be a big load of diary stuff that happened. That's now been moved over to this, which is a document which diarizes things instead. And I do, when I'm adding documents, try and remember to add them here, the complete names, as and when they're made, but I sometimes forget. I'm a bit untidy with my icons. They're a bit all over the place, but emojis rather. And I've really become quite a fan since reading the book Smart Brevity. My biggest problem, and you'll tell from the length that this video is already, my biggest problem is I take too long to explain things because they're complicated and I find it difficult to pinpoint it down to a specific point. The art of using an emoji to tell the story really does help me cut down to tell the story. There we go. I'm not doing anything here. I'm just watching the Tom Brady series. That's, if I'm not in the mood, I'll watch something inspirational. Okay, that put me on to working on projects that are all listed as, if I work on them, even if I don't do particularly well, I mean, it's not like you do badly, but if you don't do much, still, as long as I'm working on it, I give myself that score, and that's 30 points. Now that target score might well change. It might well lower itself down in the future, but at the moment it's staying steady at 30. Here I had a bath. I've got various medical problems with my SIJ, which means I can't move around much, which means like baths and things like that is my productivity would go down if I don't bathe a lot. So I give myself points for that. 20 points for having a bath. Here, I'm okay, right. Here is the decision on the 26th of December. Change the next few days to Q Planner 2023 and 2024. That's exactly what we're doing now. You can see it happened all day yesterday, basically making all those pages and doing quite a lot of boring stuff and starting to get going at the moment. And here we are making the video. You can see that so far, well, the morning was, as is quite often the case, medical admin, which put me in a bad mood. Always does. There's only so much medical admin you can do, especially when you're continually repeating pretty much the same things to people who aren't paying any attention. Okay, but moving on. Started on the Q planner, and by the second session, I started coming up with something that I liked. And remember, I'm now painting a picture of my future for the next year. But what I've really looked at is, you see, the primary projects are here on the left. Okay, we've got SWeb VC. That's the longest going project. Started in 2002. And it's the most developed project, and it's the project that we're presenting to the UK government as part of the Innovate UK competition. And we can see here, new competition starts. These are all related. SWeb 6 is technology 1, essentially. HEAI is I think that this should include T10T. AI, T10T, all comms IUK. Yeah, HEAI is a brand I'm developing for a different version of this project when it becomes governmental and global economic as opposed to business. For right now, though, the focus is on the business instruments, because these higher technologies don't work without the lower technologies being put in place. But it is fun to work on the higher technologies, and it does mean we're doing something that is genuinely going to change the world if it develops per the strategy that's called the 10 technologies, SWorld's 10 technologies. Note there are two different companies. One is Cape Villas, and that is where the SWeb websites CMS came from. The other is SWorld ASI, but we haven't done the commencement statement on that, and it involves quite a bit of admin. I've got to change the address and do some other stuff, which isn't, it's complicated because there's a post redirect, and the government's HMRC, no, Companies House is sending not to me but to the redirect, who are not posting stuff to me, so I can't actually change the address because that postcard needs to be sent to me with a code on it. Yeah, anyway, so that whole project has been slowed down by a little bit of government red tape. TBS-CC OKRs, that's what we're doing right now. 4.4.4 to 4.9. We're working on that right now. 2012 OKRs DevOps. Now this is the specific 4.6 version of OKRs, but it is also talking about the DevOps that are necessary for SWeb and all of this. This is me learning DevOps. What is DevOps? DevOps is the person you put within a bunch of coders or software engineers, depending on how one likes to be named. DevOps is somebody who knows enough about the development to talk with the developers, and who knows enough about operations, the operational side of it, for what they're doing to be truly useful. Now, I am an extreme operations person with some technical knowledge, with a lot of experience. And a lot of experience sometimes doing things the wrong way. But when you've built up a fortune and spent a fortune doing things the wrong way, you sure do learn the lesson. And they're quite simple lessons. And the main lesson is in testing. What we want to do for all SWorld products, all this stuff in blue, is use this technique where before you write the code you write the test, and it's essentially putting skin of sort around your software, if you can imagine that. So for everything you do, you write the test first. And that way, when you're working with one massive framework that has many what's called microservices within it, if you can imagine WordPress and you're using different plugins or different themes, so the different microservices, all that has to be arranged, and at some point they have to all be tested at the same time. Now, to do all those tests at the same time, if you've built in a test for everything you do as you work, that makes that process, well, possible for a start. So yeah, testing is a very important part of software engineering. And this is what we're doing right now. We're not testing it. We are designing it. I am designing how the software will look, how it will work. Now that I could show you older versions of this page that tried and started and didn't work, and so this is, this is a year and a half's experience at trying to make this version, this Q Planner version 4.7. So sure, we've got to look at the entire year, but the way I'm looking at it here is, in hindsight, when I've gone and started to put the whole first quarter targets in, something has happened that has changed the plan. So I'm working in a different way. Instead of the targets being specifically here, the targets are here. As long as we're doing anything that's in here, we're doing something that's eventually going to make money. And as you can see here, the final one is make money, which is essentially all of the above. But make money is the true one, because you only actually score on that when you make money. But currently it's 1 point is equal to $1, so someone makes $3,500. That's as many points as someone's going to make in probably 2 weeks. So it's versatile how it swaps from team leadership to individual. Okay, so these are my projects here that need to be done. Okay, and these are direct lines into folders, specific folders, and we've got the spreadsheet, the research index, letting us know each time we make a page. And that sometimes works as a fun way of summarizing stuff. But I'm not going to get into that. Right, so let's talk about how I'm planning this. And look, there's definitely going to be a better way to do this. And great, let's work out what that is. But for now, I have got this condition that if I work too much on these items here, greens, browns, reds, and yellows, it becomes that I don't produce anything. It becomes non-productive. So I have to mix it up and work on these projects here, which I love doing, and sometimes can start doing, and suddenly the next 3 weeks are gone, focused on one part of that design. This is why I brought in this to show at the beginning of each week what projects bonuses are available for and which aren't. Because that becomes a steering map. If there's no bonus available for what I'm doing, when there's all these different things I can be doing, there's always something that's fun enough to do. Of course, I'm here in a position where I choose what I do. But I'm in a position where I'm starting at an extreme disadvantage. So I have to choose wisely. So what I've done here is I've just thought, well, instead of doing the first quarter, for instance, I mean, we can look at, you see, I didn't even fill it in last time. Yeah, there were plans that simply, yeah, as you can see, bit of a disaster there. Okay, so what better time to start than just before the new year? So I'm looking at things, instead of me giving myself the whole quarter of projects to do, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, actually 5 things that I need to do first. And once these 5 things are done, half of them will be deprioritized, the other half will be prioritized. At the moment, I'm doing too much on too many things. What I need to do is to work out which of these are productive, which of these are not productive. And that's all about communication. This here is something I have to do for my health. I have to write to Dr. James Jack, who is a hero. So that's good. And I've got a load of research material for him. And what I have to do is complete the summary. But that is an absolute must happen. I also must start the Department of Work and Pensions PIP appeal, which could be taxing because they may say I've waited too long, in which case I've got to show them a video of them telling me it didn't matter, and la-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. So yeah, not the most fun thing to do. Let's hope that goes smoothly. I put in the SWeb 6 VC because that is really the closest we are with anything. Let's have a look at it. That's the contact page I'm working on. Here it is. And we can see the presentation as it currently is. And it's pretty good. Here we need a bit of work. These points need to be essentially recreated. Now I've been working on that, and within this basically menu here is the home page. I haven't finished this the swapping menus function page, which is probably the most powerful, certainly the most talked about microservice subsystem, if you prefer. So yeah, like I love doing all this. You know, it really is fun. And what we're doing right now, the TBS-CC, that is also a part of this presentation, because the presentation is to Innovate UK. Sorry, Innovate UK. Should start on the 18th of January 2024, and I'll start a new application, and that's well, I'm not sure. Is it going to show the questions here? Yeah, it does. So after you give a little bit about yourself, main question is you and your idea. You're only given 600 words, but you're allowed two A4 PDFs. Then you've got justification for funding. This needs a specific answer, and that will become one of the pages. The potential market, the SWF, swapping menus. Sorry, it's not. It's SW. Yes, swapping menus function. It's the SMF. I've been saying SWF, where it's the SMF. Swapping menus function would answer question 4. Impact and benefits would be answered by the T10T that I sent to Bridge AI. Delivering your project. Okay, this is the OKRs. So what we're talking about right now is this part, delivering your project. How are you going to do it? This whole team of software that we're building, this being one part of it, is to answer that question. And in fact, we would quite frankly say you should actually use the system yourselves once we've created it. Okay, so we see the importance of working on SWeb. It is very close to that website, by the way. You can't see it unless you've got a login for it, which something will probably change. There's a way to allow the home page to be seen, but not inner pages to be seen that we'll use. Okay, so the week's priority is the letter of Dr. James Jack. That's been the priority for a long time. There have been 4 months of writing, and something got in the way. Something got in the way. So every day I would move Dr. James Jack from the page that I was in. So if I was here, I've been moving it from this page to this page, to this page to this page, to this page. I've been constantly moving that task to write to Dr. James back. And it did actually take 3 or 4 days to put together all the pregabalin hangovers. Pregabalin hangovers is a medical trial of how to stop taking a drug called Pfizer Lyrica pregabalin that I was mistakenly given. That's costs the UK government just under $1 million per person if they live to 50, if they live to be taking it for 50 years. So yeah, that's going on. But because there's so much done, and because I'm sending it to Dr. James Jack, it's it's not what I call hard medical admin. Hard medical admin is writing to doctors you know are not going to pay any attention. Okay, so the first week's priority is Dr. James Jack. The second week's priority, you can see we've got to make the PIP appeal. These two are connected, and this is what I'm doing for fun, because I've got to devote half my time to doing things that I want to do. So I suppose what I should do is create. Okay, now here we're at a point where I am now creating new ideas as we go. This happens. The new idea. Okay, we should really have some sort of. Let's grab this little fellow. And add it here. Okay. And clear this of any tasks that are not related to Okay, that changes things. Hmm, that does change things. It would mean that, for instance, so actually that task is complete, so that's done. This task is complete and done. That's great. This task doesn't seem to be moving forwards, which is a big shame, but not a lot I can do about it. Not easily, anyway. TBS-CC version update doc, UCS, that's what I'm doing right now. But it's not specific, is it? What this should be is the tasks that I do. Okay, so, well, I don't actually want to. This document, you see, version update doc, is now split into different docs. So we can give the serial number instead, I suppose. Yeah. Uh, where were we? Version update doc. TBS-CC 2018. OKRs. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so if I replace this with that, hmm, why is that not? Okay, there we go. Okay, so I do like the idea that we specify, but I don't want to overload it with tasks that are not specific to. We want to load this up with swapping menus tasks. Okay. Swapping menus tasks. Are any of these all look useful. This, however, is much more useful than everything else. You can put it in bold and give it 8. That means the amount of times that I can work on this task and give myself a target just for working on it. The reason is I would find that if I was not, if there was a task that would take a couple of hours, and after the first hour, if I'm just going around in circles with GPT, it didn't seem that the time was worthwhile. Therefore, harder tasks became less scored. I would give myself lower scores. Therefore, I wouldn't do them. By giving the targets with a guaranteed 30 points just for working on that in that time frame, which is usually an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. Um, okay, so let's go back and have another look at what are the real priorities here, Dr. James Jack, and the appeal. Okay, so makes sense to put these there. We can see these are already at the top. Okay, let's scrunch them up. Now what that indicates on the right is you can have 8 sessions working on it. And once you've completed the task, i.e. once I've sent the email to Dr. James Jack, once I have sent the appeal, well actually I think that flag will probably be just for getting it past that first hurdle of absolutely of applying, then you get a little flag. A flag is 90 points. Other points, I suppose. Yeah, let's talk about that soon. Let's do that now. This little explosion, 25 points. This idea usually comes before an explosion or power or voltage, or the idea is 8 points and the explosion is 25. So that's an idea of an explosion value, which is actually a little bit more than you get for a dartboard. A tick is 3 points. No, sorry, it's 4 points. It was 3 points. It's now 4 points, and that is for doing anything that is useful. Here, I've given myself a tick because I've watched something that has some content in it that is to my education. That is the series Billions, by the way. It's got good psychology, got good technology, very good. It's very good. What else? Okay, Planck space rocket. That's 100 points. That's something very significant. So, having this idea to spend these next 3 days was the highest scoring. You see, this day would have been a disaster. 296 is a low score. If it hadn't been for Planck space rocket at this point, and it was followed by something that looked pretty good as well. Okay, that was really me following up. Yeah, just for working on the pregabalin hangover, I get a target, and within it, there was a good idea that was worth flagging. So it's been flagged as a good idea. So anyone wants to look back, or if I'm looking back and want to see things that I might have missed, opportunities, that is a good. It's a legal thing. That yeah. I mean, maybe it's wasn't worth a 50, but yeah. In retrospect, one can always change the scores, but I generally don't. Okay, so getting back to plotting out the first week, putting the most important things at the top, and finding a way to doubly, extrally incentivize them somehow. We'll come to that. This is a sort of a standard that comes in. Any inquiry for Kate Villas gets immediate attention. But so far, no inquiries have come in. We did change the images recently, and I worry that might have affected our SEO. But anyway, if I worry about that too much, I'll give myself a bit of anxiety. So let's move forwards. Let's go. Okay, so S-Web in general. George James Jack and the appeal. So that's there, that's there, that's there, that's there. Okay, these are particular projects I was working on specifically. I'm quite happy to continue that. That's presenting S-Web to Sotheby's and Airbnb. Okay, now that should probably go up there because it was a priority item for that week. You can see it there, TPG appeal. Okay, now as far as I'm gonna move this down to just below here. I think it's time to rethink. You see, this is where this kind of planning really does become entangled with every part of the design, because I'm now going back to the home page here and I'm thinking about what we're presenting. Okay, so we're talking about the framework here. The stuff is good. The video, we've got to make the next videos. Yeah, there are videos that need to be made for here, and they are a huge priority. So I'm going, because I just haven't done these, it's been ridiculous. I'm going to give both of those videos a flag for making. Okay, that's a good way of doing it. So I'm going to move back these, which are not priorities. Useful, want them, but they're not priorities. Throw them down there somewhere for now, and just delete them here. Make videos. Okay. SWeb6BC. This can go down here because it's all part of the same stuff. This should go down one. Just gonna make these two. Yeah, I think the flag there gets awarded once that is finally sent to somebody. And so that'll be once it's sent to Dr. James Jacks as a flag for the collating and sending the gambling hangover, and a flag for writing to him the cover notes. And there's a summary note as well. All these are needed for DWP appeal. All of those are related. This, oh no, yeah, that's a repeat of there. These are the three main things. 1, 2, 3. That's it. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, That might change to critical tasks. Must-do tasks is simpler and less worrying. Okay. Priority task, SWeb v6. I put that as a header. Okay, let's actually just name the videos we want to. Video. Video. Assign. Yeah, that is literally a video that will last 6 seconds. Or will be me talking for about 30 seconds and then doing something that takes 6 seconds. This should have been done a year ago, but for some reason I just haven't done it. So this is definitely going to get a flag for as soon as it's completed, I get a flag. And I found that by giving myself these sort of motivational points, I get on and do the tasks. I probably wouldn't be doing this now if I wasn't being awarded a target pass. Okay, so video of a sign website in 6 seconds is another video that is as important. I have to remember what it is though. Video of, so if there's yeah. Video of how it needs to work via LLM Okay, that video, that's not as easy as that one, but it'll be great to get that done. But it's not essential. It is a priority. So these are, I think it's right to put that there. It's right to put that there. See, it's an SWeb task, but it's also a Kate Villas task. And I would say that's well worth a 6. And because I've been trying to do that, I'm going to give myself a flag there as well. The flag for the completion is probably going to become more of a feature. Certainly, it's one thing to do the work, but it's another thing to complete the task, execute. In case anybody's wondering, of course, I'm always quoting John Doerr. He's my teacher of this art. OKRs, that is. Right, okay, Kate Villas inquiries. Let's have a look then. So there's nothing else in this week that is so important that it needs to be written here. So that's all these other ones, which I suppose should have a max. Have I put the swapping menus function up there? No, I haven't. So there is a higher priority task. Let's just move you two down. I'm still saying SWF, aren't I? Swapping menus function, SMF. Oh, dyslexia. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a little tell there. All these others are good, but they're certainly not essential. They're certainly not as important as doing these. And these last ones here, well, this legal, I do like the idea of putting a bit into that, so that can go up there. I also like okay, well, oh, we've moved this one up, so we can remove it from there. We can throw that one there. Leaves a room there in case another task comes along. Okay. Yeah, I could tidy that up. Suppose that could go like that. It's kind of nice the random way it works at the moment. Okay. If I spend too long on this, then, but you can see that you know, when I'm going through this week now, let's plan the week. Okay, well, let's see what I've already got in here. Okay, so Department of Work and Pensions, cancel Sky. That's one of the ongoing tasks. Never, never, never work with that company. They're not very efficient. Okay, so that is happening. Getting a phone call from a pharmacist who's already shown some interest in my pregabalin hangover research. Okay, these are just tasks that I've thrown on here. Well, if they're on here, then maybe I do actually remember this doc being a doc that was due to be a winner. May now have been replaced by the new. What do I do with these? Tasks that have been booted over and booted over again. Underlying assumptions, I don't think that's worth it. You know, this no longer relevant. Okay, we've put that in. Oh, okay. So actually, let's keep that in then if that's one of the tasks. Okay, so this is all about those videos, and that's fair enough. This is all OKR stuff. This is the Sotheby's. Okay, so, well, Okay, what I now need to start doing is, what I don't want to do is start filling in like you see here, with task after task after task after task. That does not work for me, and I expect it does not work for other people. Maybe if someone's new, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, for me, let's start with a CYP. That means choose your project. So I can just go over here and choose anything that I want to work on, because it's, hang on, this is New Year's Day, so it's a holiday itself. It doesn't really make any difference to me, but I might be a bit slower. Um, it makes a difference. So I cannot start the DWP appeal because they won't be open on that day. And I worry about speaking to them the day after New Year's Day because they may not be in the best of moods. I can just take a break.